So for this video, can I get all the girls to comment a red heart? Only girls. I'm serious this time. I'm not playing. If I see one boy, I'm deleting the app.
Meet Rentarou. He's athletic, popular, gets good grades, and attractive. Despite all that though, he lacks any sort of romantic luck, culminating in a total of 100 rejections throughout his life. But he's in luck, because the gods took pity on him in his high school years and didn't just give him one girlfriend, but 100 different soulmates. This is the premise of the anime, the 100 girlfriends who really love you. And to be honest, it sounds like it could end up being the trashiest, most boring rom-com anime you've ever seen. But here's the thing, it's actually kind of great. Not in a so bad it's good way, also not an emotional masterpiece kind of way either. Imagine a meal from McDonald's. It's not the healthiest, it's not the tastiest, and it's definitely not the highest quality either. But you still eat it. You still eat it because it's cheap, quick, and you know what you're getting. And that's exactly the same with 100 Girlfriends. Every time you load up an episode, you know exactly what you're gonna get. And just like how McDonald's knows it's not trying to be the best food you've ever eaten, 100 Girlfriends never tries to be something it's not. It understands the fact that it's an anime about a guy with an absurd amount of lovers, and revels in said absurdity. It rarely ever strays away from its episodic structure, instead choosing to have a repeatable episode pattern throughout the whole series. This allows the series to gain its fast food-like characteristics, where you can just sit down and watch an episode without having to worry about narratives or overarching plots. The titular 100 Girlfriends as well sort of feed this idea here. What makes the series so endearing to me is the fact that each new girlfriend represents their own rom-com tropes and archetypes. You have your tsunderes, your kuderes, and even your Walter White deres.
Oh, Crystal, fabulous example.
Each serving as individual parodies of parts of the anime and storytelling industry. This is complemented by the fact that each girlfriend receives an episode in which Rentarou and his new girlfriend go through an entire romance plotline from first interaction to confession all in under 24 minutes, which essentially acts as a mini rom-com anime. An anime that's able to effectively parody some of the most lucrative tropes in the entire industry in such an entertaining way is such a fun and cool concept, and part of what makes this series so unique and fun. I do have to say though, that with the fact that these characters are essentially just built to be archetypes, does come with them lacking any sort of character depth that one would usually come to want. But that's perfectly fine, because as I've said before, this is not a top-notch anime. This is essentially McDonald's for the eyes, and it was obviously never the series' intention to be something you really have to chew on to enjoy. Another beloved component of the series is its main character, Rentarou. Beloved by his girlfriends and the internet alike, Rentarou is arguably one of the best parts of the series. Rather than being loved especially for being deep or well written, he's beloved because he does something no harem MC has ever done before. He's not a loser. Not only is he not a loser, he's a genuine and kind person who loves his girlfriends dearly. He himself acts as a satire of all sorts of harem and romance MCs. But rather than acting as a direct parody, he instead acts as a subversion. His whole character is based around the absurdity of his love for his girlfriends. But every single of the aforementioned mini rom-coms, Rentarou goes to incredible lengths for his new lovers. Not only that, but when he is with all of his girlfriends, he somehow is able to go out of his way for each and every girlfriend. This man is literally 100 timing, yet it still feels like he's a model boyfriend to each and every one, to the point where the heroines feel more like self-inserts than the MC. But with that comes an issue. Unfortunately, the series is unable to properly keep up with the amount of girlfriends, leading to some girlfriends lacking screen time, is what I thought I would have to say when I began the series. This series, by some crazy witchcraft, is able to somehow support the show's gimmick properly. Even despite the show's current 17 girlfriends and the manga's 37 respectively, each and every girlfriend feels present in the show, with most of them never really feeling overshadowed or ignored. Some girlfriends do end up showing up more often than others, but they aren't ever completely ignored. Although I must admit, I am a bit skeptical about whether or not the show will be able to continue to service the series' gimmick. I am more than open to being wrong. However unfortunate it may be, the series is not without its pretty notable problems. First off is the fan service. This series is, by genre, an ecchi. This means that the series was made with fan service in mind, and therefore may be disliked by certain people. I'm not here to argue about whether or not fan service in anime is okay, but if you do not like ecchi stuff, don't bother watching this show. The second and vastly more serious of my major criticisms against this show is the relationship some of the girlfriends have with Rentarou. Although there are only a few problematic girlfriends, it doesn't take away from the fact that it's, at best, off-putting. On the one hand, we have multiple age gap relationships where the girlfriend is quite a bit younger than Rentarou, which, if you are a functioning member of society, is obviously problematic. On the other side of the spectrum, we have multiple younger girlfriends, one of which is his literal biological cousin for some reason. Fortunately, the series does acknowledge the fact that dating your 12-year-old cousin is, in fact, pretty weird. The fact that there are pretty weird girlfriends in the mix does do a bit to harm the viewing experience, although I would definitely have to say it's not so bad that it completely ruins the show. Of course, nobody watches a show titled 100 Girlfriends and expects it to be the most Puritan, wholesome anime ever. Its whole shtick is that it's unconventional, and that's also its strength. I honestly wouldn't change a thing about the series. Sometimes, we all need a little McDonald's. We don't need to relegate ourselves to having the most complex, emotionally deep, thought-provoking media. Sometimes all someone needs is that greasy burger and salty fries to get them through the day. And who doesn't get the craving for fast food sometimes?